I know the problem. So why am I still stuck? This happened just recently. About a year, maybe over a year, I started a new job. It had all the bells and whistles. Great paycheck, great title, responsibilities that I always wanted, and the opportunity to grow with the company. It was a young startup, so I had chances to go potentially very far. And yet, signing the contract, something didn't sit right. And over the next couple of months, I really, really knew that this isn't the right job for me. Still, I stuck with it. I mean, I decided to start, but um, about 6 months in, performance dropped. I didn't, yeah, I just didn't perform. And looking back at this now, it was clear. It wasn't, I didn't listen to my inner voice. So the question is, and the question we want to discuss today is why insight alone doesn't change anything. Before we go any deeper, Adam, how are you today?
Brother, great to see you, mate. Greetings, Earthling. Good to see you all again. Very excited for this episode. Great to be here. Looking forward to it, exploring this topic with you. And yeah, I think that's beautiful what you've just shared there, brother. There was something inside you that just wasn't getting fed by that work, and you couldn't deny it any longer.
Yeah, and the weirdest thing is I know, right? I just before we started recording, I shared with you. I knew that when I applied for the job, I thought, let's see how far it goes. Let me knock on the door, see if it even opens. Oh, it opened. Shit. And now I'm gonna walk through the door. How far do I walk through the door? And suddenly I had this job, and I just wasn't happy.
Yeah, yeah, and you had to listen, and you did listen, and that's taking you on a journey itself, and you decided to go down the path less trodden. That is in many ways much more unknown, much more challenging, less secure initially, but it's offering you something. It's offering you something that job, that security could never give you. And so, what would you say that is for you, brother?
Great question. I wasn't prepared for this. Um, yeah, no, this is a powerful question because clearly it has nothing to do with pay, with title, with all these kind of um yeah, let's call them titles as a umbrella term. It's something deeply personal inside, right? What we're doing ignites me. Doesn't have the same external validation. We are starting our company from the ground up, and we're bootstrapping. But still, this feels so much more meaningful, so much more real and alive than any of this work I had to do.
Yeah, we're designing our lives, right? We're with intention. Um, Great quote from Paul Selig's guides. Paul Selig's is a wonderful American channeler that I love listening to, and he channels the guides. And one of the things they say, are you living a life that's designed by you or a life that's designed by others? And I think that's the thing. It's feeling, at least feeling like you're in control of your own destiny, and that you're constructing your life in a way that suits you, that's aligned, essentially aligned with you, right? Because you can do any job just to earn money, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be aligned with how you feel, with what your innermost interests are. I mean, I think also sometimes 9 to 5s get a bit of a bad rap because actually there's a lot to be said for security and sort of stability, or at least the illusion of it. um, because you can also then potentially work on side gigs and other opportunities whilst having a bit more stability. But ultimately, I think that the underlying question is that you are going to want to move away from the control that someone else has on your destiny, and you're going to want to take back control of that. And for me, I think it's the thing that most things always come back to is that feeling of freedom, um, that all human beings really desire. I think there's I don't think there's many things that we all want at our core, aside from food, shelter, and love. I think freedom is at the heart of the human story and the human journey that we all go on.
So the question then to me that still remains, looking back at my situation and then bringing it maybe a bit more meta into the room, we clearly live in the age of insight through social media, um, general media, libraries, availability of or yeah, the availability of knowledge is there. So insight clearly is not enough. Why did I still go through that process of saying, yeah, let's do this, Joe. This will be good for me. So the question is that clearly the knowledge is there. What stops? I mean, I can give you my 2 cents, but what do you think? What stops me or someone from following your truth over choosing something that potentially on paper should be good enough or okay?
Fear, right? It's the fear, isn't it? It's the fear of the unknown. Um, it's it's that age-old sort of human belief that um, of trying to construct some form of safety and security in a chaotic world, trying to do our best to create comfort and create security, yeah, amongst chaos. Or at least we try and give ourselves again the illusion of that, because the reality is that no one gets out of this alive. We're all dying one day. We're all going to lose everyone that we love. Um, oh, sorry, mate. And they're Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. They're not
No,
real.
stop it.
Like,
Now you're
spoiler
telling me I
alert
died,
episode.
and
We're gonna
yeah.
lose. We're gonna lose all 10 of our audience members now, who all believed in Santa and the Easter Bunny. So fear, 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 fear. Like, and that's what keeps people, and that's what's played on, right? That's what keeps people locked in these jobs because of the fear of the unknown. Um, if I'm not this, then who am I? And also, if I don't do this, what are people going to think? Can I do that? So yeah, it's fear that definitely controls people's people's willingness to explore something outside of the norm, to swim against the current, to walk against the sort of the herd of sheep. Yeah.
And that beautifully links in with the identity that we have kind of created out around that career or that job or that relationship or whatever it is that we attach um, so closely with. And then if that suddenly doesn't align anymore, it doesn't work, or it drains us, um, suddenly, we get pushed and pushed and pushed into a position where we know, I think I have to change. So we realize we are in this ending phase, but without knowing, we're looking into the abyss of the neutral zone, right? And that's scary.
Yeah, and I think that's why it. I think that's why people wait until the very last minute when the shit really hits the fan to change. It's almost like I imagine if you're stood on the edge of having to jump off something and there's loads and loads of space behind you. You know that there's an edge that at some point you're going to have to jump off of, but there's still lots of space, so you're not really that close to it just yet. But then over time, the space behind you gets less and less and less, and you get closer and closer and closer to the edge until you get to the point where there's no more space left behind you, and the only option is for you to jump. And that's the point in which we're forced by life, by the universe, by source to trust, to surrender to what will be. Um, and I think more often than not, I think all the time we're rewarded for that. Like, yeah, it may be difficult and painful initially, but life rewards you for having the courage to change and to go on a journey. And I think the rewards, I think the modern world is so shaped um, capitalistically, right? To to see reward as financial gain or material wealth. Um, but we forget that we're playing a game that has other treasures woven into it, um, that we experience when we go on this journey. Um, yeah. What do you think about that, brother?
There's two things that come to mind. One, just a very short one. It's a quote by someone, I forgot the name, but it was on the one of the very first Rich Roll podcasts I've ever heard. And I think it was a skater or a firefighter, one of the
It's
two.
sort of it's the same.
Yeah, same. And he said, they talked about fear and kind of changing. And he says, um, fear only lives on the ledge. Once you jump,
Mm.
there's no more fear. And it's
Yeah.
that moment, right?
Mm.
Eh, And every person, every individual decides how you described it so beautifully, how narrow this space behind the jump gets. Some people have plenty of room and they say, this doesn't work for me anymore, let's go. And they just, calmly walk off the ledge into the sunset. Some other people, it gets so tumultuous that it feels like a blazing abyss that they tumble into. So
Yeah.
it's a, that's very individually. No, I
Yeah.
rambled
Yeah.
myself
Isn't
out of
it?
my second thought.
Oh, sorry. Are you still hanging
No,
in
no, no,
there?
no, go, go, go. No, no, go. It comes back.
Shall I, I'll waffle and it'll come back, no doubt. Um, yeah, the edge, the jump, that's the ending, isn't it? That's the ending that we're talking about in terms of the transitions, the courage to end something, the career, the relationships, the new reinvention, or maybe something's been, maybe it's not the same for something like grief that's kind of forced on you, but with all those other transitions, um, if there's like this impending doom that there's going to be the need for change real soon, um, and you can either wait and be forced into it painfully, or you can kind of make a courageous decision, and sort of enable yourself to have a little bit more leeway and space and time to plan and yeah, create a plan for moving forward. Or you can just wait until life pushes you into the neutral zone, pushes you off the ledge of the ending. Um, and I think, much of the time, yeah, I think grief and health problems, obviously, well, health problems are one of those ones that people don't do anything about for years. And then it's not until they get hit with the severe illness that they decide to change. Um, it's funny, isn't it? I think there's something built into us that there's something that gets triggered when it's like, I have no choice now. I have to move forward. Like, it's like we're crippled by the options. Like, it's easy to make a choice if there's only one. You know, if there's only one path ahead of you, then you're going to walk down it, aren't you? If you've got two or three, it's like, ooh, I wonder what that one's like. Maybe that one's a bit better. Maybe this one. Um, I am waffling now, but it leads into sort of, I think that the the Buddhists talk about it, that life is much easier the less choices you have.
So many of the awakening stories or people who have seen the light or had a mystical experience without, kind of the use of psychedelics, they're usually these really impactful personal situations, either through, the loss of a loved one, um, uh, a health problem that brought them to the brink of death, again, to the ledge of something. And then they had they had no more choice than to change their ways. And then suddenly, why is it that us humans, we are fantastic repairers in need, right? When the shit hits the fan, we are great at fixing things, but we are not good at seeing in the future and saying, right, I need to take care of this body, I need to take care of this mind. And even though I'm young enough that it's not impacting me right now, but it will one day, let's wait 20 years. We can go for a run then.
Yeah. Comfort. I think it's fear and comfort. I think path of least resistance. Always trying to choose the path of least resistance in a way, aren't we? 'Cause that's also how the human body is wired, survivally, survivally. Um, your body, your body will, it wants efficiency. So it's always trying to choose the path of least resistance. Like anything that's too difficult or hard for the body is expensive from an energy point of view. And maybe that's also something that then gets built into how we approach life, that path of least resistance, doing enough to get by, just not pushing ourselves too far outside the comfort zone, um, because that's it's easier to survive, right? It's easier to stack the odds in your favor for surviving if you stay inside that comfort zone. Now, the moment you step out of it, the risk of not surviving potentially, or the belief that your risk of not surviving goes up. And so therefore we don't do anything about it. I'm just having this vision in my head now of like being in a tribe and having the boundaries of your land and the safety and security that exists within those boundaries. And now, if you go outside of the boundaries, you're stepping into the unknown, and there's all kinds of risks from attack from other tribes and wild animals. But also on the other side of that fence, that boundaries, your land, your area, could be more fertile land, could be more opportunity. Um, and generally that's the case, isn't it? With more opportunity comes more risk. That's the potential. That's the reward. So it's being in tune with, I think, who you are, being in tune with your intuitive nature, your skill set, your passions. And so, when you make that jump or leap, say for a career change, um, if you're doing that and you're going into something that you're really passionate about, that you really believe in, then that is the fuel that gets you through the really difficult times, over the difficult humps. That belief in yourself, that passion for what you're doing, that joy in what you're doing, um, and that's what will keep you going through the tough times. So I think that's the sort of moral of the story, that um, yeah, if you from a career point of view, if you're going to make that change, then go for it. If it's something that you're passionate about and you believe in.
Nature loves courage. You make the commitment, and nature will respond to that commitment. The great, wonderful, the powerful Terence McKenna.
Oh, beautiful. Well, that was a beautiful, unplanned link. Love it. Amazing. Thanks, Terence. Speaking from beyond. Nature loves courage. Exactly.
This is so, I think you yourself, we are interlinked, we are nature, right? So when we show up courageously in our lives, we love ourselves a bit more. And therefore, our shoulders get a bit broader, we stand up a bit taller, we can speak with a bit more confidence. So it's not only like a commitment to the thing you want to do, but it's a commitment to yourself. That's the beauty of being courageous and like loving yourself through all of this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Not just the thing that you're going for, but it's what it's giving you in the process, the unseen gifts. And I think confidence is such a great example of that. Confidence is generated through action. You can't increase your confidence of something if you just sit there and wish that you were confident. You have to go out there and do the thing. And it's in trying to do the thing and taking action that that gives you the confidence to do it more. And for me, public speaking is a prime example of that. And that's how we get better at things. And it's not easy learning new skills and doing new things, but the only way to get better at them is to do them.
I think that's a beautiful place to land. What do you think?
I think you're right,
Let me
brother.
ask you this. I just learned this from another podcast, but I love this question. Is there anything we haven't spoken about today yet that needs to be spoken about?
Oh, I know where you get that from.
But
Is there anything
it's a
we
beautiful
haven't
question.
spoken today? No, you've. I think I'm done. Ready for my dinner.
Yeah. Uh, let's land this then. Dear Earthlings, thank you so much. Um, I think, yeah, courage is the main thing we want to pass on today. Send you homeward, send you to bed. It's late for us, for me anyway. Adam still has dinner to do. But we are keen to know, what are you struggling with these days? Where do you see is um, your life is a bit disjointed? Leave us a comment. Of course, please like, subscribe, share this with someone who needs it. We love to have you on this journey. Until next time, any last words, Adam?
Do. And it's the name of a book by Susan Jeffers, and it is Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Peace out.